You went to 2 games tonight.
Right.
First of all, talk about the weather.
100% rain chance. The rain didn't let up. It was all rain all night.
And how are the fans? I mean, I know fans, they want to be there for their teams, but sometimes when you're told, like we were told weeks ago, well, we've got to wait 35 minutes, 45 minutes. Was there any delays?
There weren't any delays because there were no lightning strikes. A few fans at a few games, but not as many as we're used to.
Okay, you went to Robert E. Lee, and let's go ahead and show that video. That's going to be number 2, guys. Robert E. Lee hosting Mesquite, the Skeeters, as district play. Lee hadn't played almost 2 weeks, and was the weather a factor for them, would you say?
Yes, because they couldn't pass the ball.
Okay, okay.
We're used to their running game with their 3 running backs, but sometimes it looked as if they needed to pass a little bit to get downfield, because we all know they're going to run, and Mesquite knew that they were going to run as well, so their defense was there to stop their run. So I feel like they needed to pass the ball, but they couldn't do it.
And I talked to Coach. He sees the energy. He sees it before you see it, before I see it, and puts it all together in a nice package. I'm talking about Demarcus Bailey. Now, you went to the West Rusk game. They stayed unbeaten.
Right.
What impressed you about them at this stage of the season?
Their defense. Not even their offense that was scoring for them, but their defense to hold White Oak from not even getting to the end zone until the 4th quarter. White Oak didn't even get past the 50-yard line during the first half, so their defense was really impressive.
Talk to me about the crowd that was there tonight.
Oh, their crowd on West Rusk, their energy, they're active. You hear them yelling all night, screaming.
This was in West Rusk. Of course, they're kind of running the table right now. Here it is, week 7, and they're still unbeaten. And this is a team that says we are playing with a mission. And you heard Demarcus just say that the stands were crazy with fans at this game tonight as West Rusk goes on to stay unbeaten. You've been around league enough now to see their offensive game.
Right.
You love their offensive game.
I do. They keep it. They know how to run the ball. They keep it on the ground. They play very conservative. Defense on Tyler Lee was too much for their starting quarterback. They ended up taking him out and putting a guy who was more mobile with his feet, who can actually run. Here he ran a 50-yard touchdown on his second time out on the field. So I think it was a good adjustment, them taking out their starting quarterback.
Well, and see, in Rockwall would go on to score 17 unanswered points.
Yes.
But Robert Lee would come from behind. They would rally for the big win, 42-31. That is so important because, as Coach Traylor has told me and other coaches tell me, you know what? We find out what we're about during the preseason,
right,
and then we develop our game plan like that around what we discovered about ourselves. They discovered they have running backs.
3 of them.
3 of them. They discovered they have a running game. They're still trying to find that deep. You gear up for district play. And for them, they're trying to find themselves a tough outing for them. They lose to Pine Tree. Kilgore does 38-28. The other game you shot was White Oak?
White Oak and Spring Hill, yes, sir.
Tell us about that game.
I did not know that was a rivalry game until I got there.
Okay, so what was your first clue?
The audience on both sides. It was. I don't think it was any season. It was packed
right
on both sides of schools was packed. White Oak came into this one 2-0. Spring Hill was 0-2 coming to this game. I thought, since White Oak is 2-0, I thought they were going to be able to pull it out. But hey, history tells itself. Spring Hill beat White Oak 2 times, the last year and the year before that, and again this year. Spring Hill was all over White Oak in this one.
Well, you make a good point about it being a rivalry game because that's what brings out the best in these athletes. The adrenaline's already pumped up because it's Friday night. That alone. But then when you realize it's rival week or it's against one of our rivalries, maybe we're not in the same district, but we know when they come to our house or we go to their house, it's going to be a knockout, drag-out affair. That appeared to be the case here for a minute.
Yeah, you could tell walking to the stadium right over here. They was hard-hitting, a lot of penalties, personal fouls, stuff like that. So you knew that was a rivalry game.
Now, when you go to these games and you're seeing both sides with just tremendous fans rooting their team on, you got to think, wow, there's nothing like it here in East Texas, don't you?
Yeah, and I like the positive energy it is on both sides. And you don't really hear anyone talking negative about any other of the players or the coaches. It's all positive energy out there to have fun and play football.
Now, our game got to think that for Jacksonville, they got to be feeling pretty good for themselves because they had a bunch of points scored last week.
Last week they lost pretty bad to Carthage.
Carthage. They gave up 61?
61-20 last week.
Yeah. See, and so now if you get beat like that the week before,
and you come back
like this,
they got their heads on right.
See, and the thing at all levels, people